Hey guys, welcome back to Down the Stretch. Today we're going to be talking about the legendary Thornbird. I was not a witness to any of Thornbird's races, so I don't can go off of stories that I heard about Thornbird and things like that. But Thornbird was foaled in 1981, bred by Bowden Estate, owned by Fastlane and trained by legendary Wayne DeCosta. I don't have how many starts or how many wins Thornbird had, but I know she won the 1,000 Guineas, the Jamaica Oaks, the Jamaica Derby, the Governor's Cup, the Shell Anniversary Plate. She was second in the Craveney Classic to Trance, and was second in the Red Stripe Super Stakes to Warfare in a new track record. A track record that is still held to this day, which I think is 202 and 3, if I'm not mistaken. Thornbird also finished fourth in the Caribbean Classic, Grade 1 behind Galilea, one of the better runs in the Caribbean Classics. Horse of the Year 1984, equaled the 5.5 track record on her 2-year-old debut and broke it on her 3-year-old debut. Set a 9 furlong track record in the Shell Anniversary Plate at 9 furlongs. Was champion 3-year-old, inducted into Thoroughbred Hall of Fame in Jamaica, and is arguably the best filly ever to race, well, the best local bred filly to ever race in Jamaica. And she's the third dam of 1,000 Stars, who won the Jamaica Oaks and was second in the 1,000 Guineas. So I'm going to run down the bloodline here of Thornbird. I'm going to go by the stallion side and the Stallions dam side, and then I'm going to go to the dams stallion side and the dam side. Just not a lot, but I'm just going to go as far back as I think is important to note bloodline is concerned. And then at the end, I'm going to show the only video I can find of Thornbird. And I think Caymanas Park really needs to start putting out some of these old videos so we can really get a look at how the older horses, did perform. Because the argument here is that She's a Manita is better than Thornbird. But that's debatable because, in my opinion, what the research I've done, Thornbird raced against much tougher competition. Just naming Trance and Warfare alone, stands alone. Because if you're going to name who She's a Manita beat, like the best horses she beat, the only two come to mind is maybe Will in Charge and Big Daddy Cool. And to be honest, Will in Charge and Big Daddy Cool, I don't see them in the caliber of Trance or Warfare. Okay, let's get into it. Thornbird was out of Tableland. Tableland was bred in Kentucky, sent to Great Britain in 1971, then sent to Jamaica in 1974, stood at Bowden Estate, and his greatest achievement was Thornbird. Tableland was sired by Round Table, bred by Claiborne Farms in Kentucky. He had 66 starts, 43 wins. At 2, was first in the Breeders' Cup Futurity. At 3, first in the Hollywood Gold Cup, the American Derby, Westerner Stakes, Hawthorne Gold Cup, Bay Meadows Derby, Bluegrass Stakes, the Will Rogers. He was third in the Kentucky Derby. At 4, he won the San Fernando, the Santa Anita Maturity, Gulfstream Park Handicap, the Hawthorne Gold Cup, the San Antonio Stakes, the Arlington Stakes, Ward Memorial, and many, many, many more. It was 1958 Horse of the Year. He was American Champion Turf Horse 57 to 59. He was Champion Male Handicap Horse 1958 to 1959, entered stud in 1960 at Claiborne Farms, and that was Round Table. Round Table was sired by Prince Quelo, owned by Claiborne Farms. 33 starts, 12 wins. At 3, he won the Jockey Club Gold Cup, the Saratoga Cup, the Saratoga Handicap, was second in the Witness Stakes. At 4, won the Merchants and Citizen Handicap and the Questionnaire Handicap. I think that was a track record at the time. Foaled in Ireland to avoid World War II actions. His sire, who stayed in France, was killed, imported to the US as a wheeling, again to avoid war, entered stud 1945. Prince Quila was sired by Prince Rose. 20 starts, 16 wins at 3. He won the Grand Prix de Bruxelles and the Grand Prix de Ostende. So he raced in France, sold at Newmarket for 260 guineas, was retired due to injury. He stood briefly in Belgium, entered stud in 1938 at Arras de Chaffreville. Hope I'm pronouncing these French words correctly. In France, in 1940, moved to Arras de Petit Tellier, and my French is horrible, so that's it with him. But he traces back to legendary stallion Gallopin. Gallopin foaled in 1872. He had 11 starts, 10 wins. Won many races, the Newmarket Derby, the New Stakes, the Derby Stakes, the Fernhill Stakes. Was a leading sire in Great Britain and Ireland, 1888, 1889, and 1898, and whose bloodline still exists to this day, as you can trace him back to the legendary Eclipse. The dam of Tablan was Meadow Miss. Meadow Miss traces back to Nirko, and on a recent video I told you that Nirko is the sire of Neratic, who is the sire of the legendary Northern Dancer. Thornbird was sired by Jimmy Repin, and Jules is a producer of Great Britain. Multiple stakes winners. Had 17 starts, 9 wins. Was first in the Sussex Stakes, was third in the 2000 Guineas. Jimmy Repin was sired by Midsummer Night. Won the Cambridge Sire Handicap, second in the Palace House Stakes in Newmarket, and was third in the Royal Hunt Cup, also the Dewhurst Stakes. Midsummer Night was sired by D. Jeddah. D. Jeddah had 21 starts and 12 wins. In France, multiple stake races. This bloodline, I can't really find it in our modern bloodline now. I think this bloodline has just petered out, and that's the sire line of Jules. Now we're going to look at the dam side of Jules. The dam of Jules was Nearly Blind. I have no information on Nearly Blind, but Nearly Blind was out of Partha. Partha had 12 starts, 6 wins. As a 2-year-old, won the Dewhurst Stakes. As a 3-year-old, the Derby Stakes. D Stakes, the White Rose Stakes, the Derby Trial Stakes, was 4th in the St. Leger. At 4, won the Jockey Club Cup, the Paradise Stakes, and was 2nd in the Coronation Cup and the Hardwick Stakes. Partha was out of legendary and very versatile Persian Gulf, who won 4 of 9 starts, and I mentioned in a recent video that Eros traces back to Persian Gulf. He won the Coronation Cup. He's ranked 7th time amongst top 10 English sires. Has sired horses successful along the distance spectrum. That means he produces horses that win from 5 furlongs to 22 furlongs. And Persian Gulf was sired by Baram. Baram was undefeated in 9 starts, and he was a winner of the 1935 English Triple Crown. So apart from the sire of Jules, they all trace back to the legendary Eclipse. I mentioned before, Eclipse was undefeated in 18 starts, considered the greatest racehorse of the 18th century, a great stallion. His progeny continues up until this day. 95% of the world's current thoroughbred are descendants of Eclipse. Now let's have a look at Thornbird's brave 4th place finish in the Clásico del Caribe 1984, the Caribbean Classic.
Vendrá en cualquier momento. Allí va la partida buena para todos. El comando le está buscando Torres Santos por dentro. Doctor Peguero en el centro está retándolo. En el tercer lugar está THORNBIRD más afuera y Caymanas está avanzando por fuera en el tercer lugar ahora. Cuando entran a la meta por primera vez, el comando lo tiene Torres Santo. Torres Santo ha puesto un cuerpo, una cabeza en el comando. En la segunda posición está colocándose por el centro Egoísta. Entrando en la primera curva, Torres Santo afuera. Tiene una cabeza en el comando. En la segunda posición está el doctor Peguero por dentro, presionando hacia el comando. Tercero Egoísta a medio largo. En el cuarto lugar está Caymanas por fuera. En el quinto lugar está corriendo THORNBIRD. Así van hacia la recta de atrás. Torres Santo tiene el comando por medio cuerpo. En la segunda posición está Caymanas presionando por fuera. Egoísta por el centro de Panamá está avanzando hacia el segundo lugar ahora. Y THORNBIRD está en la pelea también. Después avanza por fuera el ejemplar Borgia. Más atrás queda el doctor Peguero. Después está corriendo el Le Chateau. Friend Dancer de Panamá comienza a moverse desde el octavo lugar. Cuando entran en la última curva, la lucha continúa. Torres Santo por fuera y por dentro está corriendo THORNBIRD. El tercero está Caymanas. En el cuarto lugar está corriendo Borgia. De quinto está Egoísta. Entrando en la última curva, el comando lo tiene el doctor Peguero. THORNBIRD tiene el comando. Segundo está corriendo por el centro el ejemplar Torres Santo. De tercero está Caymanas. En el cuarto lugar Egoísta. Girando la última curva, el comando lo mantiene la jamaicana THORNBIRD. Segundo está Torres Santo de Puerto Rico. Egoísta de Panamá está tercero. Y Galilea de Colombia está presentándose en 3 ejemplares. THORNBIRD de Jamaica, templada en el comando. Y Friend Dancer está presentándose en 3 ejemplares fuertes. THORNBIRD adelante, Friend Dancer en 3 ejemplares. Se aparece por el centro. Y Le Chateau de Colombia por fuera con Galilea. El comando lo tiene THORNBIRD. Por fuera Galilea con Le Chateau. Y Friend Dancer está en el centro. Friend Dancer por el centro imponiendo condiciones. Friend Dancer dominando. Friend Dancer adelante. Segundo está corriendo Galilea. Friend Dancer adelante. Friend Dancer y el estrecho entre Galilea y Friend Dancer. Después llega Caymanas. Más atrás está llegando el ejemplar Egoísta. Becar,